what we were just talking about is a lot of it, actually. I mean, not in terms of a speaker series, but in terms of like, for me to be invited and for me to show up and give a speech begs the question, why you and why here and why now? And you know, there's a lot of settings where people will have an actor come in to speak about their career and their craft and that. I have just, you know, I've just adjusted that a little slightly to say I want to talk about the nature of this, of that process, of why people would come to see an actor. Not just for the pure, I don't think the only reason people would come to see me speak tonight would be because of their interest in my thoughts on my craft. I think that the interest would be may not be 100% clear to people. I think it'd just be an impulse. And so what I'm trying to do is explicate what's going on with that impulse. And in so doing, I talk about the three movies that I'm singularly identified with, Goonies, Rudy, and Lord of the Rings. And I give people a good chunk of what those experiences were like and what lessons I take out of them or choose to take out of those experiences. And then leadership, you know, I've really thought a lot about what it means to be a leader. You know, whether you're, you know, Machiavelli or Gandhi or whoever, and how you can take, you know, what kind of lessons you can derive from certain leaders' roles and how you can apply them in you know, a contemporary context. So I just kind of go into that. I go into my life as an actor, my life as a person who's become a public figure beyond acting, the nature of celebrity, and the roles that I've done that people are really interested and curious about, and how I think all those things can conspire, can fuel my own passion for leadership. And whatever it is, leadership is just an idea for me. I mean, it's a concept. It's not just, you know, whether you're in battle or whether you're in business or in your family or whatever. To me, it's just an approach to life, to not want to be reactive, but to say, hey, I have an opportunity to actually have other people follow me. And I just talk about my feelings about that and what that means and how I think that can be useful. You know, and what the limitations of it are too.
Great. And sorry, can you share with us what you did for the Clinton and the Bush administration? And you mentioned your work.
Under the Clinton administration, I was appointed by Secretary Togo West, Secretary of the Army, as a civilian aide. There were about 100 civilian, well, it's different now, but I think then there were roughly a little over 100 civilian aides representing all the states and territories. And it was essentially a public outreach function of the senior leadership of the senior civilian leadership of the Army. You know, we'd have conferences, we'd go to the Pentagon and hear security briefings, and this was 95, I was, you know, there. We get to meet a lot of people, go and travel to installations, meet with soldiers and their families, get to, you know, in my area, in Los Angeles, there was three in California, Northern California, Southern California, and Los Angeles were the three civilian aid kind of sectors. And in my area, there was a reserve unit that wasn't really activated, so they would do some occasional training, but there wasn't that much for the secretary. There was two jobs. One was to go out and tell the Army story, and the other was to feed back to the secretary anything that might be important in our area. And the only thing that was important in our area was that there were some issues regarding gays in the military and the ROTC program. And that was like the single mode, that and like as an actor when the Gulf War started, you know, demonstrating from the kind of liberal perspective that, you know, it was time to do nothing other than support the troops while they were, you know, going into action. So those are like I got a lot more out of the Army than the Army got out of me, and it was an incredible experience. You know, the way they did the protocol when you're at change of command ceremonies and that kind of stuff. I got to be like right next to the commanding general and got to meet. You know, it was just amazing. It was an amazing thing, and I hope that I was able to. I think they must feel that the reason it was worth re-upping me for 10 years, it was 2-year terms, was because when we go to the installations, the soldiers and their families really enjoyed seeing an actor come and sit and visit and have lunch with them and go, you know, fire artillery and do all kinds of fun stuff. And then the other thing was the President's Council on Service and Civic Participation, which I don't even know if it still exists in that form right now. But every president of the United States, except for Who's the guy who died of pneumonia? Is it Harding? No. Who? Harrison. Yeah, I think it's Harrison. Harrison. He didn't make a call to service plea. I think he died too fast. But the rest of the presidents, every president has made some call to service. And I was in my role as a civilian aid secretary of the Army. Actually, I was in D.C. on September 11th, the first year anniversary of 2002, because a friend of mine had put together a group that was recognizing some outstanding school kids who had done extraordinary community service work in that year. So it was on the Mall in Washington in the afternoon. Because I was in D.C., I went to the Pentagon ceremony in the morning as a civilian aide. And after the ceremony, deeply moving ceremony, I was asked by one of the administration headhunters what I was doing, and I told them. They're like, you have to be on President Bush's council. We're paneling it. There's going to be 23 members. John, Glenn, and Bob Dole are the honorary co-chairs. I can't remember the athlete's name who was the president of it. But there was like the CEO of Time Warner and Home Depot, and they tried to create a pretty well-rounded thing. They had a girl there who had, by the time she was 18, had gotten, I don't know, like 10 million meals to homeless people. She put together an organization and kind of did this thing. She was really extraordinary young girl. And they just wanted me there because of my visibility and my passion for service and like that. Anything? No?
How did you meet who's your wife?
My wife is Christine. She was working at a boutique agency, commercial advertising agency in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
And I was sent in to meet her boss. I didn't get any commercials. I got one voiceover job on a cartoon, and I got a Hoosier wife and 3 beautiful children out of it. I was appreciative of the manager for sending me in for that meeting. She's from Rolling Prairie, in between LaPorte and South Bend. I spent many, well, summers and 4th of Julys and a lot of Christmases in and around LaPorte.
How do you balance the work with the family? Are you away from home quite a bit?
Christine is really an extraordinary human being. She's not just a good wife. And anybody, I'm not just saying that because she's my wife. Anybody who's ever known or met or worked with her or seen her in action knows that she's a very, very special woman. So, really it's a question better directed at her. I mean, for me, I do my thing. It's hard to go to work when the kids, you're going to miss the kids. But, you got to work in order to feel satisfied and fulfilled and earn money. You just got to go do it. So, I travel a lot when I'm working. Sometimes they come, usually the movies aren't too long, so they'll come together. If they can, if I'm there for 5 weeks, 3 weeks into it or 2.5 weeks into it, they'll come for 4 days. And it's different now that they're all in school than it was before, because before they just come for the whole time. But now, my 13-year-old, she's got a whole life. She's got a whole life and, academics and extracurriculars and friends. And, so Christine really is the administrative director of Team Astin.